Not yet. Not yet. Fuck. And we're back. Well, maybe this is the first time you've joined, but anyways, this is the Week 3 late game halftime with Harmon. I am Matt Harmon at @MattHarmon_BYB on Twitter, talking with you all, the Yahoo Fantasy audience. Going to pull up the chat right now because totally forgot to do that before the stream started, but because I want to talk to you guys. You people are the best. And thank you so much for joining. It's been a really fun Week 3 set of games so far. A lot of things to recap, but let's jump right away into the Yahoo Fantasy Twitter feed. You can see it streaming on the desktop right now. I'm going to pull up a couple of the tweets we've sent out here so far just to kind of recap the games so far. Obviously, Mike Williams, big-time play today, couple of touchdowns. He was not somebody I was on, actually, this week, but we saw Marcus Peters, who's not expected to return. He walked off the field with an injury. That is a big blow to a Rams secondary that was absolutely balling out with Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters, doing work out there on the outside. We're seeing Mike Williams now take advantage of it. He actually got one of his touchdowns over Marcus Peters earlier today. So that's a big injury on a Rams defense that, like I said, came into this game absolutely cooking. Second thing I want to pull up is, of course, I'm going to take a little victory lap because, hello, haters. Haters, I can't hear you. Where are the Tyler Lockett haters? I don't know, because the guy has scored a touchdown in both of the games this week, last week, and the week before. 3 touchdowns to start the season for Tyler Lockett. I'm taking my victory lap. You all come along with me. With Doug Baldwin out of this offense, Tyler Lockett is the premier passing game target for Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. He's a guy you want to start every week at this point because the Seahawks are consistently behind in games right now. They're actually up in this one, but we do expect them to be in negative game script quite often, trailing and coming back. So Tyler Lockett's going to get a lot of passing volume that way, and he's freaking good. Health has not been cooperating. Volume has not been cooperating the last couple of years. But this year, we're seeing it all come together for the talented Seattle Seahawks wide receiver, and he is indeed having a breakout year. Thank you in the chat for the steam bag. I'll steam bag all I want on Tyler Lockett. All I want after the last couple of years being a disappointing play in fantasy football. We're seeing it all come together right now, and I'm excited. So you can't contain the excitement. But one thing I'm not excited about, I'll tell you what I'm not excited about, and that's Jimmy Garoppolo. It looks like he is going to be out for potentially the rest of the season. Our own Terez Paylor reported that Kyle Shanahan told reporters after the game that he's fearing a torn ACL for Jimmy Garoppolo, and responded with the correct vomit rainbow gif by our little troll friend here. Look, if Jimmy Garoppolo is out of this game or out of this offense for an extended stretch, it's a problem. It's a huge problem. We had Marquise Goodwin make his return today. That was great to see. He actually caught a touchdown, got in the end zone. George Kittle had 5 catches over 70 yards. Matt Breida, who on the early halftime show, we were concerned we might not see him for a long extended stretch. It looks like the 49ers got him right back. He actually had another 90-yard rushing game. He's been cooking so far, but it looks like this offense is going to screech to a halt if C.J. Beathard has to come as the starting quarterback. He was one of the most inefficient quarterbacks last year, consistently checked the ball down to running backs. Carlos Hyde had a monster role in the pass game, which we've never seen before out of Carlos Hyde, but he was huge in the passing game with C.J. Beathard because the guy just wanted to get the football out of his hands. And we've seen the 49ers offense have trouble protecting the quarterback, and if that continues, we could see Beathard at least feed the running backs in the passing game. But, I mean, you're looking at, like, Matt Breida has never been a huge pass catcher. Alfred Morris obviously has a real lack of passing game work on his resume. Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, is a pass catcher, but this is a huge blow to the entire 49ers offense. Even though Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't exactly balling out to start the year, this is a big blow. So if you have 49ers in your passing game, in your fantasy lineups, you are going to be in some trouble. Jumping into the chat right now, let's talk on Derrick Henry. Do we think Derrick Henry bounces back? At least I'm assuming that's who Henry is. Obviously, if it's Hunter Henry, breaking news, he's on injured reserve. But Derrick Henry, No, I don't necessarily think he's going to bounce back. This Titans team is interesting. They've beaten division rivals each of the last 2 weeks, beating the Texans in week 2 and defeating the Jaguars in week 3. Big upset win. 9 points today. Obviously, you're not looking at this offense as a big breakout unit, but I got to say, you got to give some credit to Mike Vrabel, the head coach. His offense has obviously not come together with Blaine Gabbert having to start over Marcus Mariota, but this team is resourceful. They're putting together victories, but I don't think this is necessarily the script where you're going to want to buy Derrick Henry. Maybe this offense comes together in the second half of the year, but right now with Blaine Gabbert out there, an injured Marcus Mariota out there, obviously Gabbert had a concussion and left the game today. This is a situation where we're not looking to buy a lot of these players. However, maybe in the second half of the season things do start to come together. But I am definitely backing away from all my Titans right now, and that is including Derrick Henry. Jamal Williams, we are definitely getting some trouble in the chat today. People are upset about the prediction for Jamal Williams. Yeah, look, this is obviously probably not going to work out for Jamal Williams being a feature back for the Packers. He did play more snaps than anybody else, but this game got away from the Packers. Washington was leading. You're not really going to get much out of a running back in that situation, especially a guy in a committee backfield where Jamal Williams is right now. You know, Aaron Jones came in, played 16 snaps today. But Ty Montgomery played even more than him. Like I said, Jamal Williams led the way, but it's just probably not going to happen for Jamal Williams, like in terms of being an every week fantasy start. Maybe if he continues to lead the team in running back snaps, you're going to want to play him in games where the Packers are heavy favorites. They're playing at home. But right now, this offense does look a little disjointed with Aaron Rodgers obviously coming off a serious injury, and he's still playing through it. So, yeah, definitely Jamal Williams right now. Looks like that prediction was wrong for me this year, and he's not been a guy that's been all that helpful in fantasy despite leading the team in touches. And Aaron Jones could definitely break out. You know, he's the best runner on the team. It just is a matter of, can he stand up to the workload? Can the team trust him on and off the field? You know, he's not a good pass catcher, and he has gotten obviously in trouble with the law and suffered a suspension to start the season. So can they start trusting Aaron Jones? That's the big question. But I think you're going to want to hold both of these guys on your roster right now. But so does that make you feel better about Jamal Williams? I hope it makes you feel better about Jamal Williams and my incorrect prediction there. Let's talk a few other breaking news points in these second games. Obviously, the Jimmy Garoppolo injury has, you know, it's going to cause a lot of people problems who were starting him. You know, he was a guy who was picked in the single-digit rounds. I think if you're looking at replacements, you are looking, as Liz Loza pointed out on Twitter, at @LizLoza_FF. She pointed out that, you know, Jimmy Garoppolo owners, maybe you're looking at Baker Mayfield to be a potential replacement. He's available in 88% of Yahoo leagues. It's funny that he's even, not 100% available, given that he didn't start the season as the starting quarterback for Cleveland. But Baker Mayfield's definitely somebody that you're going to be looking at as a replacement for Jimmy Garoppolo if you were playing him every single week, which you probably weren't happy about to begin with. Definitely, I think that we're gonna see Baker Mayfield play and play well. I'm very confident in him in the way this offense is constructed. I was talking about this on the first halftime show that Baker Mayfield looks like the offense was always set up for him to be the starter. You know, even though they had Tyrod Taylor out there, it's an up-tempo spread system with a lot of reads. Taking advantage of a number of different players that are out there running routes and a lot of timing-based passes. That's a Baker Mayfield offense. That's not a Tyrod Taylor offense. So I think we see Baker come in and continue to play well. It's a good matchup for him in Week 4, and I think if you are hurting at quarterback, you pick him up and you play him right away. If you have any questions, feel free to hit the chat room on Periscope, on Facebook, on Twitch, or YouTube. Thank you for subscribing on YouTube and Twitch. We need more viewers on those platforms, so definitely jump in and check us out. I think that one thing that we're seeing here is the Dallas Cowboys offense really struggling to move the ball in this game so far. They're into the third quarter now, but it's Cowboys have 3 points. The Seahawks obviously leading by 17. I took the under in this game because I think just consistently whenever these two teams get together, whether it's the Cowboys, whether it's the Seahawks, you're going to be thinking that this game is probably going to come under the projected total, which was I think about 41.5 when I took it. And again, that's still pretty low, but I think it's going to obviously come in even lower than that. This offense right now in Dallas just can't move the ball. They have no consistency in the passing game. They are rotating their receivers. Nobody's really out there getting a lot of work. Cole Beasley was leading the team in targets coming into today, and Cole Beasley's just not a guy you want to funnel your offense through. I mean, he's a useful player, no doubt about it, but you don't want to be funneling all your passing targets through Cole Beasley. So, yeah, I think this is definitely a passing offense you want to stay away from. Dak Prescott, I'm kind of ready to concede that Dak might be just a guy. I liked him a lot in his first season, even through the first half of 2017. A lot of people forget that he was an incredible player, really one of the best, if not the best, top-scoring quarterback in fantasy football. When things started to fall apart around him, he went down with him. Got a question in the chat about Amari Cooper from Philip on Facebook. I don't think you can drop Amari Cooper. I mean, you see the week-to-week roller coaster. He has one catch in his first game out against the really good Rams secondary, goes 10 for 10 against the Denver Broncos, who have a lot of holes in their passing defense. Bradley Roby's a good player, but not an unbeatable cornerback. He goes 10 for 10 against them, and then here today he has less than 20 yards against Xavier Howard, who's a shutdown corner that people don't really know about Xavier Howard, but he's a really good press coverage cornerback, and Amari Cooper has started to perform worse and worse each season in reception perception, which is the charting methodology I use to track wide receiver route running. He started to slow down at versus man and press coverage. Not really sure what the reason for that is, what's going on there, but it's a roller coaster ride for Amari Cooper. You can't drop him because he has big play upside, and he really should lead this team in targets by the end of the 2018 season, but he's not a guy that you're playing every week. Definitely not a guy that you're playing every week with confidence. Now, Jordy Nelson got off today. 8 targets, led the team, 170-plus yards and a touchdown. I don't think you're going to see that from Jordy Nelson every week, but it was good to see some signs of life from him. He was super cheap in drafts. He really got over on this Dolphins secondary and defense that was a big problem. And actually, let's stick on the Dolphins real quick. Let's bring up the box score from that game because I think people are freaking out. I got a lot of questions about Kenyon Drake, who was a guy I really liked coming into this year, but he was someone that was quiet in this game for sure. And I think that the problem here you see is that the Raiders offense was out there on the field a ton. They ran over 70 plays, and then the Dolphins ran less than 40. They ran only 39 plays in this game, and that's going to be a problem. And hey, how about Albert Wilson? My boy Albert Wilson, the bird alert, throwing a touchdown and scoring one. So you see and scoring one through the air, obviously, with a long catch and run. You see the effects just on the rushing numbers here for Miami. When your offense is not running a lot of plays, you're seeing like 3 carries for Ryan Tannehill, 6 for Frank Gore, 5 for Kenyon Drake. That's not going to get it done in fantasy, but that's a big problem. When your team is scoring long touchdowns, you're not going to get a lot of possessions. You're not going to maintain drives, and that is going to be an issue for sure. I think one thing that we got another question about Le'Veon Bell in the chat, who plenty of people are asking about him. Look, he's not coming back until Week 10 if he stays on the Steelers. Adam Schefter reported this morning from ESPN that they are listening to trade offers. I think if you own Le'Veon Bell in fantasy, you want to hope that he gets traded if you want to see him before Week 10, because logically, and I don't think it's all that logical that he's been holding out of these games and missing game checks unless he's really just concerned about not getting his body banged up. But I think the big thing is, like, if he's already missing game checks, why is he going to come back and jump in there, before Week 10 when he needs to show up to get that accrued season for free agency? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. What's to gain by coming back in Week 5 and playing for a team that I know it's obviously they're done with each other? He's already sacrificing game checks, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. If you own him in fantasy, you probably want to see him get traded to another team, but I still feel like that's kind of doubtful given what we've seen so far. I don't, the fact that you can't extend him if you trade for him, that's a big problem too. One last question just from the Periscope chat. We've got a question on Kareem Hunt, who had 18 carries today, scored 2 rushing touchdowns. This is why you don't give up on fantasy backs who, are tied to good offenses. But so far, the Chiefs' running game, he averaged under 3 yards a carry. It's not really working out. And the biggest concern for Kareem Hunt is that he didn't get any receptions today. He had just 1 target. He's not been a factor in the pass game. So if you think you can sell Kareem Hunt off the fact he scored 2 touchdowns and had a nice fantasy day, I think that you can explore that if you can get something real good. But it seems like a lot of people are really frustrated with him, so you might have to just ride it out. And at least you know that he's tethered to a good offense, and Patrick Mahomes is cooking right now, so you can do that. You can ride him out, but I think you can explore trading him as well. Because, again, the lack of passing game work makes his floor just killer, and we saw that, of course, in Week 1 when he did not find the end zone. Last question we'll get again from Philip from Facebook. Rest of season, Kenny Golladay or Marvin Jones? Obviously, this team plays tonight. They play the Patriots in Detroit. Expect it to be a high-scoring game. I think these guys are going to finish right around each other. I'm going to give the edge to Golladay because he's just a super talent, but I think it's close. You know, you drafted Golladay as like a wide receiver 5. You drafted Jones as like a wide receiver 2. I think both these guys finishes as like high-end wide receiver 3s, low-end wide receivers 2. So Kenny Golladay, big-time value pick there. And I do think he ends up outscoring Jones this year. He's just been on fire so far. That is all the time we have. Halftime with Harmon. Use the hashtag Halftime with Harmon on Twitter. We'll interact there. You can follow me on Twitter at MattHarmon_BYB. Ask me questions after the stream is over. Use that hashtag, and I'll answer as many as I can if we didn't get to you in the chat today. And, of course, you can subscribe to this show by following us on Twitter at Yahoo Fantasy. You can like us on Facebook, Yahoo Sports Fantasy, to get the live stream there. You can also watch us on YouTube and Twitch. Yahoo Sports on YouTube and Halftime with Harmon on Twitch. You can find us all over the place there. And you can follow us on Instagram, too. Yahoo Sports Fantasy on Instagram. All the content is coming to you everywhere with Yahoo Fantasy. We're out here. We are giving you the best advice to help you win your league and have a little bit of fun doing it. That's the most important part. So enjoy the rest of these games. Enjoy the Sunday night and Monday night game with a little Fitzmagic, and we will see you all next week.